Hello everyone. Decided to make a video. I'm out here with a bonfire. A little tiny one. Something small. I'll sit up by it, burn some pieces of wood. Chill, watch the fire. It's nice. But I got inspired right now to... I'm not finished with it, but I really feel like I need to get what I have now out there to you guys. I think in my apocrypha video I did mention I was going to make a part 2, but it's taking me longer than I thought because, well, there is a lot to read, but I can get through some of it now to you. Let's see. This is just what part. Alright, this is what I have so far. Just this one. And also there we go. Alright, so part 2. Just gotta make sure the wood's doing okay. So we'll start with, I guess, this page. Get the hard stuff out the way, because I think the rest is easier to be said than this one, because it's just the words. And my mom number 2, she said to look up the words, how to say them, but I'm pretty bad at that. Hope she laughs at that. But so in the Ethiopic one, because I did a little Ethiopic. So in Ethiopic, the Didascalia, which is, or the Synodos. You can just read those words and look them up if you want. Or you can even pause this video and just read it yourself. You know, you can do that too. It's either or is fine. But it refers, the text in various chapters refers to Jesus' name as the primal cause or origin of every creature. Contradicts Colossians chapter 1, 16, 17, chapter 1, verses 16 and 17. Similar, but study of culture and interpretation of primal cause language in this text is finding they lean toward different philosophical origins, and noticing how the Christian Greeks take of the Logos tradition in John chapter 1, verse 1 and 3. So, and also in this, in various chapters, sets strict laws for hierarchy of bishops, priests, and deacons, and treating it as apostolic law. Goes against 1 Peter chapter 5, 1 and 3, where it urges elders to be shepherds of God's flock, not lording it over those entrusted to you, but examples. Also in 1 Timothy chapter 3, New Testament provides general qualities for leaders. You know, so it's just like what Catholics and the Orthodox do. They set strict laws for the hierarchy of bishops, and they have their priests, and you know, they trace it back to the apostolic lineage and stuff like that. And it's because they also follow the, what is it, 1st and 2nd Maccabees and other apocryphals. Because without those, you get rid of the apocryphas for the Catholics, you get rid of those 7 books, they no longer have that theology. And I have a book coming that's it's called the Apostolic Fathers, and it's literally a book where this guy took even the Didache and stuff like that, and he wrote where every time that the Apostolic Fathers quoted from Scripture. So it's really, so I'll be able to sit here and look it up and read how they read, Because that's how I'm going to do. The earliest fathers, I'm going to read like them. But you have to understand everything. And so that's what I'm doing, is understanding everything first. But anyways, so then part 2 of the Apocrypha, let's continue. Book of Adam and Eve. So chapter 1 verses 1 through 5 provides details like them living in a cave of treasures and repeated attempts to return to Eden. But Genesis 4:1 doesn't have much and simply states Adam loved Eve his wife and she became pregnant and gave birth to Cain. So it's and the date of writing and narrative seem not inspired because it was a later date. One of your Jewish fables. And then Book of Syriac, because we're going to go back to this, written after the recognized era of Jewish prophecy, post Malachi. Chapters in Book of Syriac 3, 7, 12, and 17 suggest actions or works could mitigate sin, conflicting with faith alone. It was written during Hellenistic, which is Jewish Greek influence. Hellenistic, so there's a lot of Greek influence. That's where you get the apocryphas. So, and then example like Syriac chapter 3 verse 30, as water quenches flame, so elms giving atones for sin. Sorry, there's a mosquito, that's why I keep hitting my face. It's flying around here somewhere. Let's hoping that smoke will keep it away. You have to hear that airplane. So it does, and that does conflict with Ephesians chapter 2, 8, and 9 in our Bible. So, and then the Syriac chapter 12, verse 4 and 7. Give to the devout, but do not help the sinner. Hold back your bread and do not give it to them. Well, that's kind of crazy, dude, because that conflicts with being a Christian, period, and it conflicts with Matthew 5:44. So you can look that up. You know, we're supposed to be nice to everybody and feed. You know, if your enemy is hungry, feed them, give them a drink. You know, like. But so you got to look at. It's nice reading the Apocryphas to understand stuff like that and where you get this dogmas of the church and stuff. So now let's go to even so what is it? Oh yeah, this is in the Ethiopian text also. The same text, the Synodos or the Didascalia, chapter 29, commands strict fasting on Wednesday and Friday as a matter of apostolic law. So you better do that. No, but that does go against Colossians chapter 2, verse 16. You know, let no one judge you for what you eat, drink, and the holy days of the Sabbath you keep, and stuff like that. So you can see the in all these church traditions, whether Ethiopic, Syriac, and Catholic, Orthodox, you see the forced hierarchy that they instituted. And maybe it was done in the beginning for a good, righteous cause. But to have those 7 extra books there is some wrong things that does contradict from what I keep reading in the Bible. I'm doing my own personal study. I've done Thecla, which I actually wrote a little more on her. Because I said only one thing about her last time, but this time I wrote just a little more, but not much. So you can see this. And the Reformation, I consider myself, really, guys, pretty much a Celtic reform. You know, I don't know how to put that in terms for you, but I am pretty much a Celtic reform. I don't follow the Apocryphas. When something contradicts something or doesn't even fit, you know, because I go in depth with everything as much as I can, and I'm learning that I see why these are not in there. So that's just me, though, and I'm still woman equality and all that. I'm a Celtic Reform, pretty much. So now let's go to Second Clement, because Clement was early, so around first, second century. I didn't write the date down. I believe I actually have him written down somewhere in my other notes of the date he was around. So please forgive me if I was wrong at what I just said. But Second Clement in chapter 5, verse 2 and through 2 and 4, he writes Jesus saying, "The Lord said, you shall be as lambs in the midst of wolves." And Peter answered and said to him, "What then, if the wolves should tear the lambs?" Jesus said to Peter, "Let the lambs not fear the wolves after they are dead." The "they" is referring to lambs being lambs dying. They're dying. Don't fear them after you die. So you're just laying down. And that does contradict what was said in Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. So you can look that up. I should say the verses, but I don't want to make this video too long. It's already 11 minutes. So Daniel chapter 13, Susanna, and chapter 14, Bella and the Dragon. Well, Daniel died roughly 300 years before these stories were written. So written around 1st to 2nd BCE. Jerome, a 4th century, points out wordplay by Greeks. The word trees, not in Hebrew. So he points out some contradictions on some of them, but he still translated it because of into the Vulgate because of church authority. So that's why the apocryphas continued. Book of Enoch again. I decided to hit more on that. First Enoch, chapter 12, verse 1 and 2, it pretty much says that he was hidden from men and before departing. Well, that does contradict Genesis 5:24, where he wasn't hidden; he walked with God, and then so he wasn't hidden among men or nothing. He walked with God, and then God took him. And then First Enoch, angelic marriage in Enoch. So in chapter 7, chapter 7, verse 1, and chapter 6 and 7, chapter 6 and 7 describes fallen angels, watchers, marrying human women. Well, it contradicts Matthew chapter 22, verse 30, where angels in heaven neither marry nor are given in marriage. So think about that, dude. The sons of man, they didn't go down there and marry the women, dude. They went out there and pretty much raped them, dude. They either raped them or tricked them. And either way, they didn't do it through marriage. It's wild to think about. So, and then Enoch chapter 10, verse 8 says, Angel Azazel's teachings is cause of the whole world's sin. Well, it contradicts Romans 5, chapter 12. And Enoch, chapter 10, verse 2 says, Enoch wrote to or about Noah, but in Genesis 5, verse 21 and 29, Enoch was taken by God roughly 69 years before Noah was born. And then Jubilees, now we're on to Jubilees, in chapter 6, verse 32, and chapter 2 and verse 9, insist on a strict 364-day solar, sun calendar, and forbids following the moon for festivals. This contradicts Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, which states that the lights in the expanse, the sun and the moon, are meant for signs, seasons, days, and years. And what's funny, too, is in the Dead Sea Scroll, when I read their calendar, they literally go off the lunar cycles for a lot of their festivals. So you can see where that does contradict not just the Bible, but also the Dead Sea Scrolls. the Essenes, and everybody loves them. I mean that as a joke and a laugh. I like the Essenes too, and they held on some cool stuff. They just helped us prove that a lot of things were being written down. They brought us back to good Hebrew too. And so did the Masoretes. That's where we get the Masoretic texts. So Jubilees chapter 49 verse 2 claims the angel Mastema was let forces loose. Prince of demons, Satan-like figure, killed Egyptian firstborn. But Exodus 12:29 states that the Lord struck down all the firstborn. So there's a little contrary there. Plus Azazel, they tried to get. No, that wasn't Azazel. That was Mastema, which is. I'm gonna do a little more on him. I'm telling you, there's so much to this, man. But this is just what I'm finding now. So that's why I'm gonna do a part 3. There's probably gonna be so many parts, but it's gonna be good though. So then also in Jubilees chapter 50, verse 8 and 12, extreme restrictions to the Sabbath. These added penalties are not found in Exodus 20 or Leviticus 23's Sabbath laws. And then 1, 2, and 3 Maccabean, Ethiopian Maccabees, about a king named Maccabeus and different martyrs rather than the Hasmonean revolt described in 1 and 2 Maccabees. Historical figures, events have no parallel or mention in Bible. The first Maccabean, which they spell it Meqabyan. That's how they spell Maccabean. So in chapter 18 and 19, suggests the Nephilim were the descendants of Cain's sons and Seth's daughters. But 1 Enoch chapter 6 to 7 contradicts Maccabean by stating they, Nephilim, are the offspring of fallen angels and humans. But our Genesis, what we read in the Masoretic, Genesis 6:4, Nephilim were already on the earth before angels came to daughters of men. And then that's what I'm saying. There's I'm sorry, but I believe in our Bible, the 66 we have today. Period. I'll read it different ways and stuff like that, but those are the only ones I will ever adhere to, that I will ever listen to. I'm telling you. So angels came to so, and then chapter 9 in First Maccabeus references to the story of Cain killing Abel and noted Cain desired Abel's wife, but that we don't know what they discussed in the field. That's never said. They just went out in the field and he slew him. And from what I know, it was because he was jealous. Not because he desired his wife, but because Abel was favored by God. So those are just those ones that I have. You can rewind this and look up those verses and everything too. Did I just read that one to you guys? Yes, I did. Now it's this one. So, origin of sin. Women are going to hate this one. This is going to make a lot of women not want to be a church person or be in the Catholic. Because of this apocrypha here. Syriac chapter 25 verse 24. From a woman sin had its beginning, and because of her we all die. Well, it conflicts with Romans chapter 5 verse 12. You know, where it was both. That's why Paul brings up the women thing, but you do hear him also talking about Adam. He doesn't just say man. You'll literally hear him in one place literally say Adam because of Adam, and another place he'll literally say because of Eve. It was a balanced fall. Okay, so life after death. This is in Syriac 41 verse 4. life after death. There is no inquisition in the grave, contradicting Hebrews 9:27. So, and then salvation by wisdom versus faith. This is a good one. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9:18, verse 18, states that people were saved by wisdom. Conflicts with Ephesians chapter 2:8 and 9, saved through faith. And then Wisdom 9:15 claims a perishable body weighs down the soul. This reflects Greek Platonic dualism rather than the biblical view. Yes, we are Yes, we are born in / through sin, but that the body isn't inherently evil or a burden to the soul. So pre-existence, that's the Platonic dualism. That's Plato's metaphysical theory that divides reality into two distinctive realms: the eternal, unchanging world of forms, that's true reality ideas, and the imperfect, changing, sensible world, that's matter and appearance. And so on to pre-existence of souls in Wisdom, chapter 8, verse 19 and 20. So says the author, entered a body because he was already good, implying the soul existed before the body. There is nothing biblical that supports pre-existence of human souls. There's nothing that I found. And this is the last one. So, Wisdom of Solomon again, because I guess that's the one I started picking on more. That's what I'm scared of, is overfilling myself with notes, too many notes. So, Wisdom of Solomon, written as if from King Solomon, but composed in Greek around 50 BCE, 900 years after Solomon's death, likely in Alexandria. So, missing from Jesus' list, Luke 24, verse 44, refers to the Jewish scriptures, law, prophets, and psalms. He uses the three-part division of the Hebrew Bible, which doesn't include the apocryphal. So I think it's a great way to end that video. Jesus himself using the three-part scriptures. There he is. I knew he was right here somehow. Probably just chilling on me as a mosquito. So, and that's all I want to put. I hope you guys enjoyed rewinding the video, and look up, as I say, that you can look up the verses that it contradicts with. I did. If I added that, this video would be longer too. It would be actually 10 more minutes, but that's fine. But at least I said the verses it contradicts, so you yourself can look it up. Don't just follow me. If I'm wrong, you know what? I don't mind if someone comments. I will study what they say or you say, and we can go from there. It's perfectly fine. So, but thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. Have a good day. Black Rose out. Black Rose Christian out. And have a good day. God bless.